Hello YouTube. Since I had a little more time than I wanted this week, I took the opportunity and tidied up my supposedly living room a little bit, which is my work room, and I wanted to show you what's going on and where I spent most of my life. Anyhow, I'm standing in the doorway because it is a very tiny room. It's just 16 square meter, and let me start on the bottom. Don't mind the floors, please. They are not clean. I had no time to vacuum. This is my refrigerator compressor that I use with my vacuum pen and will later use with my PNP machine. And this is my desk with the 3 monitors you will see shortly. This is my 3D printer. That's my unfinished PNP machine. This is my very old office chair that I have for I think over 25 years now. Yes, I'm cheap. No, I'm not cheap, but just don't have money to buy a new one. Anyhow, this is my mini mill that I built the enclosure with no glass. So I need to have that cut. This is my VFD. And this is my CNC controller with the stepper driver motor, stepper driver board. What the hell am I talking? And I am about to add limit switches to this, proximity switches, which are these little guys I like very much. Excuse me. And they work from 6 to 12 or 6 to 30 volts, I think. Can you read it? I can't. Six to 30, I think. Anyhow, but you can connect them directly to my CNC controller. These are the wires for the proximity switches, so they connect directly. And I did print these covers to cover up the couplers. I might make them in another color. There's some small table that I use to put stuff on. Normally all this place or space is loaded up. That's my rainbow light that I used before. I put up a stronger light, so I didn't need it anymore. And now it's just running animations. Here are my parts that I use. These are just a small portion of them. And this is another, how you call it? I forgot. Where you put your stuff on there. Regal auf Deutsch. Shelf, yes. Not that hard, is it? And these are my favorite sculptures. Let me turn actually on the main light here so you can see a little better maybe. Oh, Aziz Light. Fifth Element movie. Anyhow, this is, as you may be able to tell, is the alien. This is the big predator, and this is the small one. And these guys are going to be very dusty. Are made out of screws, mostly car parts. You see some spark plugs there, nuts, bolts, chains, rape bar. What are those called that you use in construction? Gears. I mean, whatever you can find. And I got these from Thailand. There is an artist who makes these. He did start with those stuff because he couldn't get anything else, so he went to the scrapyard, collected a bunch of parts and made these. And my idea was it to, I mean, I did buy these, of course, and I had this utopische, out of this world idea that I'm gonna make this myself too. But then after looking at them, I said it would take me probably 5 years to finish something like that, and not that I'm artistically inclined enough to come up with something like this. I mean, these look, I think, awesome. So that's a picture that I didn't hang yet on the wall out of a Hot Rod magazine. Some more stuff, work stuff, and this is actually my most used item, a laser printer. Without this I would be lost. And here you can see my small CNC machine. That was actually my first CNC machine that I ever built. And this is a design that I wanted to make. A chopper, custom chopper, but never got around to it. I actually made one not like this, but I made a nice one, but had to sell it due to financial reasons. This is my tumbler. More stuff. This is my wood CNC that I built after the small one. And with this guy I did quite some things. That's my V-gauge PCB, the first version. Put this. This is a jammer that I bought a long time ago and just while cleaning up found, and I have to recharge it again, or even I don't know if the batteries are good enough. I hear some noise. My wife just came in. Anyhow, so this is my CNC machine, my wood CNC machine. This is what I do with stencils that I don't use. As you can see from the shape, it is the V-gauge stencil. I put a LED backlight on it and use it as a piece of art. This is my small belt grinder that I got from Banggood. Thank you, Banggood. Actually, I was affiliate of Banggood, but then somehow got kicked out or whatever happened to it, and now I am again. So I will link some products that you might find interesting, and if you do buy through them, I will get a percentage, which will help me develop more stuff. This is my breadboard, Arduino breadboard. This is my filament scale I showed you before. This is a GPS module that I use to set my RTCs. This is my second most useful item, my reflow oven. It's actually a toaster oven, and I got this on the flea market for $7. Can't get cheaper than that. And that's a bench drill. That's how you say it, I got it from my father that passed away many years ago, and it's an old machine, Einhell, German, made in 1988. So this is my Matex multimeter that I showed you also before, that I'm using for over 40 years now. No, not over 40 years, over 35 years. That's my only bad habit, coffee. My CNC, my SMD parts. This will be mounted behind my PNP one day. These are some of my knives. I will make an extra video for that to show you. Down there you can see my first 3D printer, my tripod. Now we come to the good part. This is my unfinished PNP, as you've seen before. Phone doesn't want to focus. It has a glass top, but the sides are still open, and this will have a hinge, so this whole thing will open to the top, and on the CNC it will have a door in the front. This is my 3D printer. Also, thank you to Banggood. This is also a microscope that I got from Banggood. I use as a light. This is my 3D printer. This is some of the stuff I printed. There's more down here. And I do this because I print only with ABS. I never even tried PLA, so that's what I use to get the temperature up. And this is my desk. I got some old Russian amp meters and a voltmeter. The amp meter is just there for looks. The voltmeter is actually connected to 220 mains. You can read it right. This was my first sandblasted test that I did. Sandblasting on acrylic. Or maybe it's just plastic, I don't know. This is a light that I got many years ago. As you can see, there's dust all over the place. This is my rework station. This is my racer, stealth racer I called it, because it looks like a stealth airplane that I never finished yet. It's been sitting for years also. I really should get this going. I have all the parts, everything here, but no time to finish it. This is a 3D printed V8 that I bought. Actually, this was my first 3D printed item, actually the only 3D printed item that I bought, and I love it. I made a video of that too. There you can see my screwdriver, motion screwdriver. That's my monitors. Let me clear the screen here so you can see them better. So I do have 3 monitors. That's German television I'm watching. Let me turn it off. Who knows, maybe I get hit with copyright. So I got 3 monitors. This was the first one I bought. It runs on 220, and these are 12 volt monitors. Same model, Philips, 22 inch. And I have, as you see, 2 monitors set up on my mini PC that's mounted behind this monitor, behind door number 1. Anyhow, this is my desk. These are my items on my desk, which I have seen many times before. This is my spectrum analyzer. And here I added actually I took this out of that, put it here, and this is my stuff that I use, tools and whatnot. If you want to see it closer, just stop the video and take a look. And these are 2 desks with drawers, and this is it, guys. This is where I spent most of my time. If you do have any questions, just leave them in the comments. I will try to answer them all. Actually, I'm pretty good with answering comments, so unless they're really stupid questions or with obvious answers, then I don't bother. Here are also some lights that I use. These are from monitors I got from a friend, and they're real nice, not that bright, but bright enough. And that's what I use on the stencil light. And these are the lights that I make with LEDs and aluminum profiles. They're hung up on the ceiling, and I can adjust the height of them. This one is running continuously since the past almost 10 years. For the sometimes you get brownouts, so that's the only time this thing's out. Other times it's on 24/7, even at night. And this was the one that I had above my desk. which was just not bright enough. It looks bright here, but it's not that bright. And then I got new LEDs, and this thing is much brighter. You see on my desk how much light it puts out. So this is basically it. This is an old house, so I'm not living in a fancy apartment or house. This is actually not even our house. This house belongs to my wife's grandfather. And yeah. So we're still looking to buy our own if I ever get the money together. Anyhow, this is it. I can show you some parts I have. Actually, I was talking to a friend the other day, and I told him that I have so many discrete electronic parts that I would love to give away to a workshop or something like that if they do work with this stuff, because I'm not gonna use this stuff anymore. So here you can see I have a whole bunch of LEDs, resistors, integrated chips, a lot of stuff. It's would be a waste to throw it away. On the other hand, it takes away space that I'm, as you see, limited. These are more LEDs, any shapes, colors, whatever you could like. And here I do have some nice switches. I use these a lot. Even had a labeling machine, as you can see, that I labeled them, and I have 7-segment LEDs displays. I have more stuff, still more stuff, but this is actually the wall of shame. I got boxes behind this curtain, so all the other stuff that I don't use anymore are up there. And yes, I showed you my clock before, right? My NeoPixel clock. That's me back there. This is Hyrie with his glasses on. I do actually have another clock over here that I need to bring to life also. This is the same as the other one, as the one in the back, but the lights are towards the outside. They're shining. So if you hang this to the wall, it takes up very little space, but it lights up all around, and it does look quite nice. So this is my next project, one of my projects to finish up and put on the wall. What else? Oh, let me show you some of my designs that I made and use every day. And that's where my laser printer comes into play. While I'm at it, I can do it. So I do print out all the boards I make and do color the parts so I know how many pieces I need from what, since my PNP is not running yet. Plus it would be really a waste to use PNP on a board this small. Here's one. So it's much easier to do this, putting the solder paste on there by hand and then place the parts and throw it in the oven. So that's that. This is another PCB I have. Focusing again, my Picasso pendant, my CNC controller, previous versions, my V-gauge, the canvas V-gauge, This is my CAN bus simulator PCB, or the CAN bus CAN gauge micro. It sits here. More designs while I'm designing it and just printing out and checking measurements. This was actually the first version. This is the second version with the NeoPixel. The first had a LED down there. So here you can see how I label how many parts I have and where the colors are. Might be helpful to somebody who wants to do the same and save himself some headache. This is my ESP board. This is a parts list. This is my Pico GPS PCB. This is my Giga 328 PCB, and I also always name them on the board also, so I won't get confused. This was supposed to be the black board for the analog V-gauge, and all this is for nothing. I just wasted time. Well, not wasted, but I learned from it, so I guess I can count it to that. Those are some schematics that I printed out. This is the board for the mini V-gauge, which will also turn into CAN V-gauge. This was the mini before with the shape of the analog one. Now it's gonna have the shape of the current CAN bus V-gauge. It's finished, I just need to order it as soon as I can spare some funds. This is my Pico 328 PCB. And this is my OLED track PCB, which also went through many revisions. And I do have the PCBs in there from the ones that I don't even use. So I have so many PCBs that I don't use. I need to find a way to repurpose them, making tables or something like that. This is my OLED PCB. This was again a previous version of my CNC controller. That's my OLED scope PCB. And with every PCB I learn. So this is my Yuki nozzle holder PCB. These are some PayPal things. And this is for example, a layout. I wanted to buy one of those container workshops or container houses or whatever you want to call them. I'm not exactly sure, and that's how I was gonna do the inside. So again, I do all this with Eagle and print it out with my laser printer. And it's really valuable. Here are some again previous designs and stuff. Yeah, I don't think that's any more interesting here. Parts lists and whatnot. Schematics. This is actually a 3D print design that I wanted to print but never got around to it. You can find this on Thingiverse, I think. So I'm showing the name so you can look for it. Just put it into Google and search. What else? This is that mega pinout. Oh, here you go. This is a design I did for electronic cigarette, a vaping what? Anyway, to vape. And this was supposed to be in the form of a V2 engine. And this was supposed how it's gonna look. And I was gonna make this with a CNC machine, obviously, but never got around to it. So as for the name, as you see, it almost looks familiar to Harley Davidson, but my first name is Hayri, last name is Uyghur, and Davidson is son of David, right? So I wrote Uyghur son and VMod. and the way you were supposed to hold this was like this and have the button on top here, and the output was gonna come through the mouthpiece. Was gonna be a copper pipe, and oh, I forgot the terminology. The tank for the fluid, and it was gonna look like an exhaust, so we were holding the engine and sucking on the exhaust. That was gonna do it. I tried to find some people who work on lathe, and I gave them this design that I think has all the measurements on them, but they cannot do it. One of them said, "Hi, you can come to my workshop and we do it together," and I still have to pay him the full amount. I mean, I'm doing the work and he wants to charge me the full amount, which was like $50 an hour or something like that, or maybe 25, I forgot what it was. So I thankfully declined, because if you cannot do this by yourself with the measurements, then you're not gonna be able to do it even if I'm there. Which I do know how to work on lathe, so I learned that in school thousands of years ago. So this was my V-mod, still a project it's on my to-do list. More schematics, parts. This was my first CNC controller. Actually, here is one of my also first CNC controllers that I made when I was not designing PCBs. So that's how it looks like. It had an LCD screen and 3-stepper motors. This one I used with this machine. So when I made the parts for my big CNC mill, I used this to make prototypes with this controller. So this is also, I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. I cannot throw it away. I don't use it because I'm using my newer CNC controllers, obviously. So this is sitting here and collecting dust. So this was my first big PCB, and now they're half the size. These are parts that I needed to finish my big router, and you can see the total here that I needed. 1,535 euro, which is even more in dollars. So this was my shopping list, and this is also first designs of the V-gauge. These are some bills, papers, invoices. I think this was it. Yeah, not interesting to you. So this is my, well, you can call it portfolio, or work in progress design files. Anyhow, what else could I show you? I could show you a very old picture of me. Let me get the dust of it. Here are some more parts in bins. This is me back when I was 22 years old, which is now almost exactly 30 years ago. So this is me 30 years ago. Don't mind the clothing, it was back in the 80s. That's how you dressed. And this was my Corvette. I think it was a 82. So that was me. After that I bought a German handmade car based on an Opel, which is basically also GM, and this is a bitter, and I painted it this color. And I did all the interior, I took everything out, I took the whole complete car apart, even took the glasses out, had it painted and put back together. And that was my actual license plate in Germany, living in Karlsruhe. So that was that. I actually, while cleaning up, found some pictures I wanted to make a video of. Here, that's the radiator fans that I did. I even painted those. And the car was neon yellow with purple, and it had the underground neon lights. I was the first guy in Germany who had underglow lights. I bought in not New York, in Miami, and back then I had a big tube and I took it inside the cabin. These days it would be impossible to do, but that's how I got them to Germany, safe and sound, without breaking. And everybody went bananas back then. When you had underglow lights, they were purple also, of course, and it looked quite nice. I do have pictures, I will show them to you. If you don't want to see them, I will show them to you anyway. So this is it, guys. This is my place of heaven or hell, I don't know. And I sometimes say I see the time, not the time, the like summer, winter, fall and spring. I see them going by this window. It's like a time machine I'm sitting in. Anyhow, this was it. This is a pretty long video. If you made it this far, thank you very much. I'm coming to an end here on space. Thanks for watching. Leave your comments, your questions down below in the video. Make sure to read the descriptions for links, because I notice most people don't do that. And anyhow, thanks for watching and take care, everybody.